Hey guys, welcome back again to another video. How are you guys doing? I know you are doing absolutely fantastic, and very welcome to myself, from being away for a while because I had some important and pressing issues that I had to deal with. And so yes, I am back and I'm officially welcoming myself back onto this space, right guys? So there is this thing that is going on around that is not funny at all, and it's got to do with landlords and their tenants, or let me just say housing agents dragging tenants to court for things that we all should be aware of. I have been a victim. My own thankfully ended up without having to go to court because of the way I dealt with it. But unfortunately, one of my friends have been summoned to court, and I did a video about 2 years ago when I talked about the fact that I was taking my landlord to court. After that, fast forward, I did a video talking about things that can take you to court in the UK, but I didn't really mention this very, very important thing. But today I'm making this video because this is becoming like a trend. That is just how I see it. Because how can I rent a house 2 years ago, and I'm still having letters concerning this very issue? And so if you're new to my channel, my space, hi, my name is Becca. I'm a migrant nurse originally from Ghana in West Africa. I practice in the United Kingdom as a registered nurse, and yes, you are welcome to my channel. This ain't over. So I'm going to be giving you two scenarios, right, of what happened in the process of my case and my friend's case, okay? So I rented a flat 2 years ago in London where I was living. I think I've shared a video of that flat on this space. Yes, I did a tour and everything. And after I rented that flat, about 3 months later, I posted a video that I was sending my UK landlord to court. And this is the reason, right? So in my tenancy agreement, yeah, it was stated that I was not supposed to pay council tax as part of the rental. So what I needed to do was just to pay my rent, and every other thing was factored into the rent, which made a lot of sense. So I went with that. Fast forward, I had a letter from the council saying that I was due to pay some council tax. In fact, the council wrote me like 6 months after I've lived in the house. It was like an accumulated revenue that I was supposed to pay to the council, which I didn't understand because, of course, my tenancy says I shouldn't pay. So I just forwarded it to the agency, and they told me they were going to deal with it. Okay. So I spoke with somebody and was like, once the council starts to write things like this to you, if you don't deal with it in more knowledge, it's going to keep on and keeping on. So I forwarded it to the housing agent at that time, about 2 years ago, yeah, at that time. And they said, oh, I should leave everything to them. They were going to, deal with the issue on their own. So I left it to them, of course. I don't want to be like a thorn in their flesh. I was still receiving emails from the council after that, subsequently, still talking about this same council tax, and I didn't understand. And anytime I received this letter, I took a screenshot of my tenancy where it stated I was not supposed to pay council tax. I circled that particular sentence, I forwarded it to them, and they tell me rest assured they were going to deal with it, yada yada. Right, so that house was an HMO, that's house of multiple occupancy. So the tenant that lived ground floor, that neighbor that lived ground floor, stopped me one day when I was on my way going out, and he was like, have you heard anything about the water bill? I said, what water bill? He was like, oh, okay, that's fine, it's all right if you've not heard anything. I said, what water bill? Is there anything I need to know? He was like, oh no, that's fine, that's all right. He didn't go forward. I was like, what is water bill? Because my tenancy says ABC, and I have read it, and everything that I've appended my signature to means that I have given consent to. This is the agreement that we have had. So let me give you this tip here, yeah? When you are renting a house in the UK, please read your tenancy, because I think that was a problem with my friend, which I'll be sharing also as I'm going on. So in my case, fast forward, when I was just about to move out of the flat, the council wrote me again an accumulated revenue from 2021 to 2022. And they added everything about £1,500 that I should pay. Anyway, I forwarded it to this same agency. They're like, oh, they're going to deal with it, yeah, I should forget about it. When I moved out, my deposit became an issue, which I think I shared also here on the channel. My deposit was an issue, was a back and forth. Then eventually they released my deposit to me. When they released my deposit to me, I had already moved to this particular house that I'm living in, which was last year, October, I moved. November, December, January, February, March, April, 6 months. No, that was May. Yeah, so 7 months after I moved from this flat, to my new house, enjoy my peace and quiet, I had a letter from my old borough. So where I'm living now is a different borough from where I used to live. So the old borough wrote to me through this new borough to my house address, telling me that I am owing council tax in Merton Borough, where I used to live. I was like, how did we arrive here? So I called this agency again. Luckily, I was still in touch with them. I had their contact, I had their email. This time around, I just forwarded it to them quietly, and I was like, could you please address this, because I don't understand why I've been issued this, more than 5 times I've been issued a letter from the council about council tax. Anyway, so the last one they sent me was what broke the camel's back. I was like, I'm not taking this again. That was in June, early June. The council wrote to me again, and then they said this is the final warning or final notice or whatever they call it, that if I don't settle this council tax that has accumulated to over £1,500, they are going to forward me to court. That was when I sent an email to the agent, and this time around, I copied everybody that needs to be copied. In fact, I wrote the email to A, I CC'd B, I BCC'd C, I CC'd about 6 people in the email, and I poured my heart. I was like, listen, I will not take this again. This should be the very last letter I am receiving from this old council that I have lived in, ever. Deal with it anyhow you want to deal with it. I don't want to know, but I am not paying any council tax when I have signed the tenancy that states otherwise that I shouldn't pay. So I had a response, and they reassured me that it was never going to happen again. And up to now, June, July, August, we're in August, as at the time I'm filming this video, I haven't heard anything from them. So I assume the matter is dead. Same was not the case for my friend. So this friend and I were living like 10 minutes apart from each other. So he rented this house with this landlord, yeah. And then along the line, the landlord was like, he wants to renovate that particular flat. So he wants them to move to another house. It was there I told my friend, move to another place. But this landlord insisted that they had some houses. So when my friend was like, okay, I want to move to another place, just give him my deposit. He said he doesn't have the deposit. Before he releases the deposit, somebody should have rented that flat that my friend is moving out of before he can release his deposit. So my friend was like, okay, I can't just spend another money renting and pay another deposit, so I will just go with what you say. So this landlord gave him another flat, and where he moved him to, it was his own house where he resided. So he was a live-in landlord, and it was like his annex. He has built an extension there of about 3 bedrooms, and he used that as a shared house. So that is where my friend went to reside. Now, in his old tenancy where he was living, it stated that everything is inclusive, including council tax, electricity, and everything included in the rent. When my friend moved to this new place that the landlord took him, he didn't state whether it was the same tenancy that he was going to use or anything has changed. And obviously, nothing will cross your mind, because you are thinking that if anything has changed, the landlord should draft it and give it to you, right? This landlord didn't communicate anything to my friend. He didn't say anything at all. My friend also moved there with the mindset that where I was living, I wasn't paying council tax, so same thing applied here. Miscommunication went on. The landlord didn't appropriately communicate to my friend. My friend also didn't ask any questions that much. Moved in. Fast forward, that was last year. So somewhere this year, he received for the first time a letter. When he received the letter, it was a court sermon, summoning him to court. And I was like, hang on. Before in the UK, you'd be summoned to court. You would have been given a lot of notice, and then the final notice before they'll proceed you to court. If you didn't respond to the notices before they'll forward you to court. But how come you have not received any letter from the council before, and for the first time, you are just forwarded to court? Could be, but well, this is what I thought. You know, it's a live-in landlord, yeah? So his address comes first. And obviously, every letter that comes goes through him before it will be delivered to whoever is in the flat. So why would he why would he give your details to the council, your name, your full name, your everything to the council without your notice, number one? If you want me to pay council tax, tell me. This is a tenancy. You're supposed to pay council tax. I am forwarding your details to the council, which I know is what is done. I'm forwarding your details to the council. So in case they contact you to pay council tax, this is it. You're supposed to pay. You didn't tell this friend of mine anything as a landlord. Right. He moved into the house, and You didn't tell him you were forwarding his details to the landlord, number one. Number two, when he was receiving letters from the council saying that he was supposed to pay council tax. No. You have a lot of ice cream in the fridge. No. I'm not buying ice cream. If you want ice cream, let's go home. Okay, fine, we'll go home. Tell them. Go and call them to come and let's go home. When the council was sending him letters saying that he was supposed to come and pay council tax, why was none of these letters forwarded to him? The first letter he received was just a court notice to come to court to pay the council tax, or otherwise A, B, C, D was going to be done. And as immigrants, if you receive such letters, you are panicking, you are shaking, you are asking yourself, what is the next step? What's going to happen? Should I speak to a legal consultant? Should I speak to a lawyer? My advice here is that when you are moving houses, just be careful. Ask questions. These landlords nowadays, listen, the UK is not smiling. Everybody needs money. Everybody is kind of like trying to make ends meet. The system is very rigid now. Money is very difficult to come by. So everybody is using ways and means possible to loot money from the next person, or to make the next person pay for things that they were originally supposed to pay for. So if you're moving houses, read your tenancy very well, and also ask questions. If you're not sure, ask your landlord or your housing agent. I don't understand this clause in my tenancy. I don't understand, what does this say, what does that say, and so on and so forth. And just get a clarification before you are dragged to court for something that you originally were not supposed to be dragged for. So I think here, just what I've got to say in this video. Just an eye-opener for all of us, especially those that reside in London. Thank you guys so much for watching, for constantly coming back to the channel. And until we meet again in my next video, guys, it's bye-bye.